everybody to the Seasonal Report, the show where I like to go through everything I watch in a season, as well as talk about what I'm going to be watching in the next season. And the season we're going to be talking about right now is the Winter 2024 season. Now, Winter 2024 wasn't the best season ever, but I actually liked everything that I watched. So we're not going to beat around the bush any longer. Let's get right into the shows that I watched. Starting with the one that I enjoyed the least. And that's actually a show that I've watched a little bit of before because it's the third season of Classroom of the Elite. Classroom of the Elite Season 3 being the show that I like the least is actually really surprising to me. I enjoyed seasons 1 and 2, and in summer of 22, when I watched season 2, everything else I watched, I dropped, and I only kept watching Classroom of the Elite Season 2. So I was really excited going into season 3, but as I was watching, it just wasn't exciting me as it has before. I think that might be because all the other shows I watched this season were new to me, and Classroom of the Elite was something that I've seen before. You know, season 3 is a lot more of the same. It's Ida Koji being a big brain guy, but not letting everyone know that he is big brain. So we get more of the shenanigans and more of Ida Koji hiding himself while still being exceptional. And there's just a lot of talking this season. I know that that's what Classroom of the Elite is. It's a political drama. There's gonna be a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking in seasons 1 and 2, but it just was getting to me and being kind of boring this season. I found myself really only enjoying the moments where Best Girl Kei Karuizawa was on the screen. Also, by the way, Kei deserves better than Ida Koji. I don't like those two together. Ugh. Other things I enjoyed about this season were the Valentine's Day episode because, again, Kei was there. And, you know, I did enjoy when Ryuin came back because I loved Ryuin in seasons 1 and 2, and I was a little apprehensive about Ryuin not being in this season, but he did show up near the back half, and I really enjoyed his parts there. So, season 3 of Classroom of the Elite, not bad, but just not as good as seasons 1 and 2 for me, and not as good as anything else I watched. Also, I have been seeing that the light novel readers aren't enjoying this season at all. I have 5 of the volumes that I just haven't gotten to, but now I'm really wanting to read them. 1, because I've had them forever and I have not touched them, and 2, maybe I'll enjoy them more, or honestly, I just have to know why the light novel readers are upset. But the thing about the light novels is they are very, very dense. They call them light novels, they're not light novels. They're the size of regular novels. And there's a lot of words, honestly, mucho texto, and it's all about philosophy and politics and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, maybe Classroom of the Elite was not my thing to begin with, but I did enjoy the anime, at least seasons 1 and 2, and even 3 a little bit at parts. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Classroom of the Elite. As far as there being more to the series, I know that there's a lot of the light novels. There's 2 whole series, Classroom of the Elite 1 and Classroom of the Elite 2. So there's definitely more room to the story, but I don't see them adapting it past season 3. A lot of the times, big shonens get multiple seasons, but when it comes to things like this, romances don't tend to get more than 3 seasons. I know that Classroom of the Elite isn't a romance, it's a drama, but I just don't see a drama getting 4 whole seasons. It's honestly kind of a miracle that I got 3. Honestly, it's a miracle I got 2. You saw how long it took for that one to come out. But, yeah, that's where we're going to leave Classroom of the Elite for now, but I'll probably make a video just about it in the future. I've had plans to do it for a while. I just wanted to read the light novels, and I've been stalling on that. So yeah, I think we can firmly say Classroom of the Elite is okay, borderline good. And so then we can move on to the next show, our number 5 slot, which is Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable. Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable has a very fitting name because this show is such a cute romance. It follows our main boy Tsubasa as he just moved to Hokkaido. And he's very nervous about everything, he's a fish out of water. But then he meets the main girl, Fuyuki, who is a gal as the title suggests. And the show is just about the two of them having adventures in Hokkaido, and Tsubasa learning about Hokkaido, and Fuyuki falling head over heels in love for him. And honestly, Tsubasa kind of doing the same. The show is really straightforward of a romance. There's some amazing girls. Akino's honestly my favorite. I mean, brunettes, I love them. And then there's another girl who I believe her name is Reina. She's pretty cool too. There's a lot of fun moments between her and honestly all of the girls and Tsubasa. So I actually really recommend this one if you are a fan of romances. I will say though, one of the funniest things about this series is I would not be surprised if the Prefecture of Hokkaido, paid for this anime to be made, because it seems like this show is just a big commercial about Hokkaido. Tsubasa and Fuyuki will just be hanging out, and Fuyuki will be like, "Oh, Tsubasa, look, it's these ramen noodles that you can only get specifically in Hokkaido. Isn't that cool? Isn't that great? Come to Hokkaido." Another thing about Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable is the main girl, Fuyuki. There's been a massive trend lately of, gal characters being the main girl in anime. Is it Marin's fault, or have I just not noticed it before? Fuyuki is a very straightforward waifu. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just pretty standard. So, if you don't like standard romances, you want something a little bit more interesting, maybe not this one, because the spin that they put on it is, it's in Hokkaido. Isn't that interesting? And so, if you're looking for something a little bit more spicy, maybe don't look at this one because it is very standard, but I had a fun time with it. And also, I forgot about Classroom Elite. We'll cycle back. But the opening to this one is really good. It was done by the same person who did the Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. Those OPs are really solid, so definitely check out the Hokkaido Gals OP. And cycling back to Classroom because I forgot, the OP for that one is also really good. It's done by ZAQ. ZAQ always does the Classroom the Elite OPs, so give both of them a check out. I'm going to keep talking about the OPs from now on, so hopefully I don't forget. Hokkaido Gals Is Super Adorable is a very standard romance, but the next show on my list isn't standard at all. And actually, this one went from the bottom of my list all the way to the number 4 position in about 7 episodes, which is very impressive. And of course, I'm talking about The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil is very similar to Love is War. We have our main boy Akutsu, who is a devil, and then our main girl Lily, who is an angel. They are rivals, and they are fighting at the beginning of the series. But as the series progresses, they start to flirt with each other. And their flirting at the beginning is just trying to get the other one to fall for them so that they can get them under their heel, but eventually it just becomes regular flirting. That's the plot of Love is War, like I said. But even if it is a ripoff of Love is War, it's pretty good despite that. Around episode 7, like I said, I started to really enjoy the series because it became its own and really started to show why it was good. In fact, CBR, did an article about the anime, just being hey, this thing exists, maybe you should watch it. And it was after that episode, and it was specifically because it was like Love is War, and because it came out of nowhere. So, I think you should give it a watch if that interests you. Yes, I'm talking to you, friend of mine who watches my videos. I saw your Crunchyroll watch list. I know you have this one in there. You should watch it. It's pretty good. You should watch it. Now, outside of the romance elements of this show, there are some action elements, and the action elements, I don't really enjoy them as much. They're not bad, it's just, I enjoy the show when, like, they're just flirting and, like, you know, having all their cute moments. And I actually said that earlier in, like, the last episode. When it comes to romance shows that have action elements in them, I tend to not really enjoy the action elements as much. So I could honestly, like, leave them, but they are necessary to telling the story that this show is telling. Even if I don't like those elements that much, it is necessary to the story. So I don't feel like we can leave them away. But the romance elements are enough to carry the show, so I can bide my time and wait until the romance elements pop up, because they are the most prevalent thing a majority of the time. Also, speaking on the OP is really solid. Check that one out. Now we're going to be moving away from the romances because, surprise, surprise, I watched the shonen this season. And it was the big shonen of the season. Or big shonen of the season. Let's talk about Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling is interesting because it is actually an adaptation of a manhwa, which are Korean comics. And Solo Leveling is about hunters who go into dungeons that show up from another world. We follow the main character Sung Jin-woo, who is the worst hunter in the world. But after running into a double dungeon, Sung Jin-woo dies and is reincarnated with the power of the system. This gives him video game powers, where he can actually level up, and other hunters can't level up after they get their rank. He's the only one, which makes him the OP power fantasy character of this isekai. Solo Leveling is interesting because it uses two separate sort of isekai elements. We have the very bog standard fantasy element where characters just have powers and stuff. And then we also have the video game aspect, which is just Sung Jin-woo, where we have mana and we have levels and blah blah blah. Now, I actually like this concept, although it's a little clunky in my opinion. Sometimes Sung Jin-woo is just doing his own thing and then things are happening over there. But I get that this does make it a little interesting, and the anime is titled Solo Leveling, so I don't dislike it that much. And one thing that I do like about Solo Leveling is that it will cut away and like go to other things happening. Now, I have heard that all of these things are exclusive to the anime and were not in the original source, and I genuinely enjoy that. I was fully expecting the double dungeon to just be episode 1, and when it took 2 episodes to get through it, I actually loved the restraint. It did some good things with the pacing, and I do like the pacing of the show. The reason why I don't seem as excited about Solo Leveling is mainly because I'm not an action-oriented guy whatsoever. I like things that are like good and great, but when it comes to things that I think are just okay, I tend to not enjoy them as much. Not that I think Solo Leveling is just okay, I'm just trying to explain myself. I love romances, and even just okay romances, I'll enjoy a little bit more than the average person, but when it comes to actions, they have to be spectacular for me to really enjoy them. And honestly, when it came to like the outside perspective of like what the internet was saying, it didn't seem like Solo Leveling was all that popular. Maybe I'm just not in the right circles, but it didn't seem like Solo Leveling generated that much hype. That's why I said that Solo Leveling was the big shonen of the season. It was honestly kind of the only shonen, and it didn't seem like it was getting like the big, overwhelming hype that like a lot of other shows get. Maybe I'm just sort of like whacked out because JJK was everywhere the last 2 seasons, but it didn't seem like Solo Leveling was like all that popular. Maybe I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments if I'm the incorrect one, but I don't see Solo Leveling being as big or as talked about later on after it finishes. And the next thing I'll say is that the animation did seem pretty good. I'm not like the animation is like everything guy. I'm not the judge of animation. Honestly, that's probably why I like slice of life and romance that much. Like, the lack of animation doesn't get to me as much as it does other people. But the solo leveling stuff actually seemed pretty good. The fights were good. I liked Sung Jin-woo as a character. I did like the story and the premise. So that's why solo leveling lands right in the middle at the number 3 spot. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was pretty good. Number 2 on the list was actually what I thought was going to be number 1 on the list, but it lands at the number 2 spot only because of my own doing. And that is Chained Soldier. Chained Soldier follows our boy Yuki, who lives in a world that is constantly under siege by monsters from a dimension called Mato. But there are these special peaches that grant special abilities, but only to women. So the women in this society are all super strong and badass, and the men are kind of just treated honestly, kind of second-class citizens. So Yuki is perfectly content, he's great at cleaning, he's great at cooking, he's ready to be a perfect house husband. But then, one day, he finds himself in a Mato mishap and is transported to the other world of Mato. But he is quickly saved by Kyoko Yuzen of the Mato Defense Force. She is the chief of the 7th unit and she's really powerful. But her and Yuki get into a little bit of a bind, and so Kyoko has to use her power to get out. What is her power? Well, it is to make anything her slave. And so she uses it on Yuki, and he gets an awesome 3D transformation that, even though it's in 3D animation, looks really cool. And it's super powerful, super strong. He wrecks the monsters, and the two are able to get out of there safely. But there's a second part to Kyoko's power. And that is that after the transformation, after the deed is done, she has to give the slave a reward. What kind of reward? Well, it depends on the slave's inner desires. And seeing as how this is her design, you can guess where this series goes. Chained Soldier is amazing, and it is quickly becoming one of my favorite series around. It's written by Takahiro, the same person who did Akame ga Kill, so Kyoko is a great waifu. All the ecchi scenes are drawn very well. They look amazing. I love them so much. The action scenes are great. There's an awesome balance between the ecchi moments and the action scenes. This show was so good. I was so excited for it. I was so hyped. I knew I would love it. And so around episode 4, I read the manga and I killed my hype on the entire series. I was not keeping up with the anime at all. I had 3 episodes to watch and I just finished them an hour ago so that I could make this video. It was all because I read the manga, which is great. Go check out the Chained Soldier manga. It's going off really well right now, so definitely check it out. But yeah, that's why this one's landing at number 2. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but just because I wasn't as hype on it, and that allowed the number 1 spot to kind of snipe itself. But I'm not going to talk about the number 1 spot because I still want to talk more about Chained Soldier. I briefly mentioned that Yuki's transformation uses 3D animation, and there's a lot of 3D in this show. And you can tell that it's 3D, but it looks really good. It blends in with all the 2D animation exceptionally well. Kudos to the studio for making good 3D animation happen in anime. I hope we get more of this in the 2nd season, and I hope we get more of it in anime in general. So hopefully this is a good sign that 3D in anime is very viable and not something that people are going to complain about constantly. I also love all the girls in this series. At the beginning of the show, I was like, okay, I don't know which one of them is going to be my favorite. Speaking just on the anime, Shush is definitely my favorite girl. I love that she can get really big. I like that she has a crush on Yuki. It's really sweet, really cute. So there's some romance elements to this show as well. But again, the main thing and the main draw of this series is the ecchi elements and these lewd ecchi scenes. They are amazing. They are so good. I love every last one of them. They get me so excited when I see them. This series is awesome. I highly recommend it if you are an edgy fan, but it is one of those anime, so if you're not a fan of lewd things, definitely skip this one. It's not your cup of tea. But for all the other people out there, again, check this one out. It's great. And then we can finally move on to the #1 anime I watched this season. And this one, it comes with a little bit of an apology. I am sorry. I made a huge misjudgment. I said some things that I now know were made with misinformation. I said a lot of things that I regret. I used some words that I wish I could take back. I deeply regret everything that I said. And what I'm talking about is that I don't think Dangers in My Heart is mid. I don't think that Yamada and Ichikawa are wrong for each other anymore. I take back everything that I said. Dangers in My Heart is peak manga. It is a peak romance. Me loving Dangers in My Heart this much came a little bit out of left field. You definitely have not watched my video on Dangers in My Heart, the spring report from last year, because honestly, no one did, but go back and watch that one, specifically the part where I talk about Dangers in My Heart. And I also did a YouTube short where I do touch on Dangers in My Heart. Mainly it's just about Ichikawa using Rem as his profile picture on Pine, but at the beginning of that video, I briefly say that Dangers in My Heart is mid. It was just a off comment kind of thing, just getting it out there. But you can get the impression that I did not like Dangers in My Heart at the beginning in season 1. That has completely changed in season 2. This show gets me so excited. I was desperately wanting to watch it every single week. I cannot get enough. I'm debating going into the manga for this one. I really don't want to because I don't need to read another series, especially one that might not be done, and I'm just going to be reading it for years and years and years, waiting for a confession that won't happen. Cough, cough, rent a girlfriend. Anyway, I'm very excited, tempted to read the manga, and it's just a really solid, frustrating a little bit romance. I love the dynamic between Ichikawa and Yamada. One of my biggest complaints about season 1 was that I didn't buy that these two should start dating. That has completely went out the window. I think it's because Ichikawa isn't as cringe as he was in season 1, and I've had some time to kind of stew over the relationship between these two. Like, I can accept that Yamada has a crush on Ichikawa, and I can accept that Ichikawa has a crush on Yamada. Obviously, she is a model. Obviously, he's gonna have a crush on her. It's really cute, really adorable. I keep saying that because it is. I keep screaming at the show to just have these two kiss, to just have them start dating. And actually, that's what all the other characters in the show are doing too. I find it really funny that every single side character in this series is trying to hook these two up and failing. That's honestly part of the reason why I'm so compelled. Because the confession, isn't coming, I keep waiting for it to happen, and that's drawing me in. So, definitely check out Dangers in My Heart if you are a fan of romances. I think this one can hang with Don't Toy Me Miss Nagatoro. I think it can hang with Horimiya. It definitely pulls its weight, and if you are a romance fan and you haven't watched this yet, definitely check out Dangers in My Heart. Maybe you'll be like me and season 1 will kind of make you not like it, but stick with it. It will get way, way better. Okay, so that's it for winter of 2024. Now we can move into spring of 2024. And My guess for spring this year is that it is going to go down in history as one of the single best seasons of anime ever. This season is stacked. Like, I don't have any of these shows that are coming out memorized, so excuse me while I pull up my phone and just read everything that's coming out. Konosuba Season 3, a new season of Demon Slayer, new season of Slimy Sekai, new season of Mushoku Tensei, new season of Boku no Hero Academia, new season of Data Live, new anime for Spice and Wolf, new season for Yuru Camp, new season for Hibiki Euphonium, new season for Black Butler. There is something for everybody this season. So many shows that are coming back, so many shows that are getting things that nobody expected to get anything. And I'm not going to be watching any of those other than like one or two, because I don't watch anime apparently. Or at least I don't watch the right ones. So bear with me as I talk about all the other stuff that I'm going to be watching. We're going to start with the returning ones that I briefly mentioned before, starting with the second part of the second season of Mushoku Tensei. Now, okay, honestly, I'm not that excited for this one, specifically because I know that the internet is going to be screaming about it, and I'm going to have to be hearing about all the people complaining and all the people defending and blah, 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 blah. I just want to watch anime. Ugh. Now, I say that, but like, I'm on the internet talking about it, and I kind of can't plead the, oh, I'm just going to hang on over here, because I'm giving Mushoku Tensei, like, publicity, and I'm putting it out into the world. I'm not going to, like, stand on a soapbox. I'm not going to do this. If you want me to, like, give my opinions on Mushoku Tensei, let me know in the comments, and I'll give my take on, like, I don't know, like, the morality of it being around. But what I am going to say is I'm going to watch this season. We'll see if I enjoy it. I enjoyed the last couple seasons. What I'm expecting is a lot of Sylphie, a lot of Rudy. I have been spoiled a little bit on Mushoku Tensei, so I know that things might not work out as well between Rudy and Sylphie. The spoilers, we might add that in a little bit before, but whatever. But I don't know everything that happens, so I am going in a little blind, but I can expect some good action, some good world building, because that's what Mushoku Tensei is all about, and I feel like we're just going to have to deal with Mushoku Tensei being around, because it's popular. I see it getting a ton more after this, and again, I am not prepared for all the complaints we're going to see online. So, that's Mushoku Tensei, that's where I'm going to give it. That's where I'm going to leave it. Next, we're going to talk about Sound Euphonium. Now, fun story about Sound Euphonium. I watched season 1 in 2019, and I watched season 2 like going into 2020, and I didn't finish it. Like, I had 3 more episodes left, and I just didn't finish it. It became a like inside joke with myself that I would never finish that show, but now that season 3 is coming out, I actually finished it a couple days ago, just so that I would have something to talk about and know what was going in. And watching those episodes, I kind of didn't know what was going on, but I did remember a lot of like the little jokes that I made about it, like the one trumpet girl, like she popped up on screen, I was like, bitch, I don't like you, I don't like you. And then like I was screaming about the main two to kiss because they so want to kiss, make them kiss. I know that's not what this show is, but they want to kiss, make them kiss. Go for it. What are you gonna lose? Now, I will say, I think this doesn't really need a 3rd season. I felt like ending it where season 2 left off was like fine enough, but there was a little bit room for more, so we'll have season 3. And it's being animated by KyoAni, so we know it's gonna look good. I love this like era that we're in where KyoAni releases like one anime every year or every couple of years, and they just bang it out to perfection. maybe Hyoka Season 2 next. I'm a little excited for Sound Euphonium Season 3. Hopefully I don't stop watching it like I did with Season 2. And I'm expecting it to look good, and I'm expecting it to just be Yuri bait, because it is always Yuri bait. Everybody talks about it being Yuri bait. That's the meme of the series. But there is a show coming out that has a lot to do with music that isn't Yuri bait. Let's talk about Whisper Me a Love Song. Can you tell I'm excited for this one? Whisper Me a Love Song is quickly becoming my favorite manga ever. It follows our small girl Himari because there's always a small girl, and our cool brunette Yori because there's always a cool brunette. And Yori is in a band, and Himari listens to her playing, and she falls in love with her playing. And so she tells Yori that she loves her playing, and Yori falls in love with Himari at first sight. And that's what the series is about. It's a music series, and music manga is not that great because you can't hear manga, so I'm very excited to hear the music in the anime. I love the story in Whisper Me a Love Song. I recently read Bloom Into You, and while I was reading Bloom Into You, I was thinking to myself, this is like if you took the story from Whisper Me a Love Song and the spicy moments from Citrus and put them together. Not to say that the story between Bloom Into You and Whisper Me a Love Song are one-to-one, because they're not similar at all. It's more the quality of the two. I love the Bloom Into You story, and I especially love the Whisper Me a Love Song story. The drama is super high. It's really, really good. And the romance between the main two is also exceptional. The anime is probably going to go to about volume 4, and if it does, please do yourself a favor. Read the rest of the series. 8 volumes are out right now in English, and volume 8 came out like a couple days ago. I read it all that night. I pre-ordered the thing because I was so excited, and it was one of the best things I've ever read. So I am super excited for Whisper Me a Love Song. If this does not make number 1 next on my next report, something's going to be wrong. Now we are going to move away from things that I know about to things that I know nothing about. And first we're going to talk about A Condition Called Love. This one seems like a very straightforward, cute romance. The difference between this one and everything else is about a guy being rejected, but he still sticks around to hang out with the girl. So it seems pretty cute. I don't really have a ton of, expectations going in. I'll hopefully enjoy it because it's a romance. The only thing that might kill it for me if it's overly tropey, I've been kind of not liking things that are overly tropey. I've been really, gravitating towards high drama rather than tropes. That's why I really was enjoying Whisper Me a Love Song, and kind of why I was enjoying Dangers in My Heart. There's not a lot of drama in Dangers in My Heart, but the whole thing where, will they, won't they, and everybody being get them together, that was exciting. So, honestly, if the main boy is very this girl, blah, 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 I might not enjoy it as much. We're going to be moving pretty quickly through these ones. I don't have a lot to say about them. But the next one we're going to be talking about is Kaiju number 8. Hey, look, another shonen! I'm honestly kind of just watching this one because I want to watch more shonens, and watching Solo Leveling helped me kind of be in the discussion, it helped me kind of know what was going on, and I can't just be the I only watch romances kind of guy. I gotta get out there. I like Chainsaw Man and I like other shonens, so maybe we'll give Kaiju number 8 a try. And Kaiju number 8 is in the conversation with Chainsaw Man, so maybe I'll like Kaiju number 8 because of it. I'm going in completely blind, only knowing that a lot of people seem to like this one. But it is a shonen, so maybe my thoughts on it will be a little underwhelming, kind of like me with Solo Leveling. I probably should have planned this out a little bit better because I'm actually watching another Yuri series this season, which is The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio. This one is about two voice actresses in high school who end up falling in love, and they're both girls, and I know I'm going to love this series. Unless it's a little too baity like Sound Euphonium, but it's listed as a girl's love. Hopefully it will be a girl's love. The series looks pretty good, like visually, so I'm pretty excited for this one. Glad to see a lot of GL representation in anime going forward. So, and actually, if you are a romance fan and you don't watch Yuri, I actually highly recommend it. A regular romance, or hetero romance is not to say regular because that makes the others seem abnormal, but anyways, boy-girl romances are very samey, where the girl will be a waifu designed specifically to get male audiences to watch it, and the boy will just kind of be like, oh, women, I don't know what to do, ah! But in Girls Love series, it's like, I like that girl, I'm gonna kiss her, and like, it just moves really quickly. Like, by volume 1, there's normally like a confession, and if there isn't a confession, the two practically kiss constantly. I can only think of like one series where actually no, Yuri Is My Job, Hime and the other girl are like hanging out all the time and holding each other closely. So yeah, there's a lot of physicality with Girls Love series. So I highly recommend it because they just move a little quicker than the normal romances. So highly recommend Girls Love, excited for this series. Now, hopefully we're moving on to the last one. I took a brief look at Mao, but I'm watching a ton and it's kind of hard for me to keep track, so hopefully this is the last one. But lastly, I will be watching Vampire Dormitory. This one looks bad. Vampire Dormitory has vampire in the name, and we all know that vampire shows are cringe. This one is looks like a yaoi series about some vampires who, one of them doesn't like girl's blood, one of them doesn't like boy's blood, and the one who doesn't like girl blood stumbled upon a guy who looks like a girl, tried to suck his blood and realized, oh, you taste gross. But then the guy who likes boy blood is like, you taste good and you look like a woman. Let's hang out. And yeah, it's gonna be one of these. The trailer made it look not that great, so I'm expecting to not enjoy this. But I love a good dumpster fire. I love some trashy shows. Let's watch and let's just have something to complain about. I did that with Girl and Her Guard Dog, so let's just have a little fun. So yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to be watching next season, and that's what I thought about last season. So make sure to let me know in the comments what you watched, what you're excited for next season. There's a lot to be excited for next season, so you better comment what you're excited about. Anyway, also like and subscribe, and with that, sayonara. I'm mentally briefing that. What?